Good morning, students. Welcome to 11th standard physics class. Students, today's topic is on moment of inertia. Moment of inertia. In the expressions for torque and angular momentum for rigid bodies, this quantity is called moment of inertia I of the bulk object. For point mass m1 at a distance r1 from the fixed axis, the moment of inertia is given as mi/ri square. Okay, moment of inertia for point mass capital I is equal to mi/ri squared. Okay, moment of inertia for bulk object, total object, whole object. Okay, I is equal to sigma mi/ri squared. Okay, the mass is distributed around the axis of rotation, so that is angular. Okay, the moment of inertia of this point mass can now be written as di is equal to dm r square. So it is circular path. So we get the moment of inertia of the entire bulk object by integrating the expression I is equal to integral of di is equal to integral of dm r square. So I is equal to integral of r square dm. The next topic is moment of inertia of a uniform rod. Let us consider a uniform rod of mass m. The rod is now along the x-axis. Uniform rod of mass m, length L, center of mass of the rod O, small mass dm, small length dx, moment of inertia di, limits from minus L by 2 to L by 2. The moment of inertia di of this mass dm about the axis is di is equal to dm into x squared. Mass is uniformly distributed. Length of the rod is lambda is equal to m by L. M means mass, L length. Small length dm is equal to lambda dx. dm is equal to m by L into dx. This lambda value m by L substitute here. Moment of inertia I. Integrating di. I is equal to integral of di. I is equal to integral of dm x squared. This is di value. So integral of m by L dx into x squared. This is dm value. So I is equal to m by L. This is coming out. dm by L integral of x squared dx. We use this formula for here. Integral of xn dx is equal to x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. Okay, I is equal to m by L into integral of limits. We substitute here minus L by 2 to L by 2 x square dx. So m by L bracket x cube. X cube means 2 plus 1 by 2. X squared by 3 into 2 cube. Now we substitute upper lower limits. M by L into L cube by 3 into 2 cube. Here minus into minus L cube by 2 cube. So this minus is lower limit value. So m by L into L cube by 24. So 3 into 8, 24 plus L cube by 24. Here L into L cancelled. 2 1 is 2, 12 2s are 24. So remaining L squared here. So m L squared by 12 or I is equal to 1 by 2 into m L squared. The next topic is moment of inertia of a uniform ring. First uniform rod we have learned. Now uniform ring. Okay. The mass is m, radius r, small mass dm, small distance dx. Okay, di is equal to dm into r squared. R is radius. dm is located at a distance r. The length of the ring is its circumference. So 2 by r. Distributed the mass per unit length lambda. Lambda is equal to mass by length. So length means 2 pi r. So lambda is equal to m by 2 pi r. Here dm is equal to lambda dx. Here we substitute this lambda value m by 2 pi r dx. Now the moment of inertia I of the entire ring is integral of di. Di value dm into r square. So dm value m by 2 pi r into dx. So I is equal to mr by 2 pi into integral of dx. To cover the entire length of the ring, so limits from 0 to 2 pi r. So I is equal to mr by 2 pi integral of lower limit 0, upper limit 2 pi r into dx. Now we substitute this lower upper value mr by 2 by bracket 0 to 2 pi r. So x integrating x, dx integrating x. So mr by 2 by bracket upper value substitute 2 pi r minus lower value. So 0 cancelled, 2 pi into 2 pi cancelled. So remaining mr into r. So mr square. So I is equal to mr square. That's all. And the next important. Moment of inertia of uniform disk. Okay. Mass m. Radius r. One ring of mass dm. Thickness dr. Radius r. The one ring or radius r. So other ring radius capital R. Okay. Moment of inertia di. Di is equal to dm into r squared. The mass is uniformly distributed. The mass per unit area sigma is equal to mass by area. Area of the disk pi r squared. So mass by pi r squared. The mass of the small ring dm is equal to sigma 2 pi r into dr. So now substitute sigma value here m by pi r squared into 2 pi r dr. So pi cancelled. So 2m by r squared into r into dr. So 2 pi r is the length, dr is the thickness. dm is equal to 2m by r squared r into dr. So di is equal to dm into r squared. Okay, m by r squared 2r dr into r squared. Okay, r into r squared r cube. Okay, 2 into m 2m. So 2m by r squared into r cube dr. So the moment of inertia I of the entire disk I is equal to integral of di. So we substitute the limit from 0 to r. So 2m by r squared r cube into dr. So limits from 0 to r. I is equal to 2m by r squared integral of 0 to r. We use this formula here also. So r cube dr. So 2m by r squared bracket r power 4 by 4 into 0 to r. So 2m by r squared into r power 4 by 4 minus lower limit 0. So 2 1 is 2, 2 2s are 4. So cancelled, r squared cancelled here, remaining r squared. So m r squared by 2. So I is equal to 1 by 2 m r squared. That's all. The next topic is radius of gyration. The radius of gyration of an object is the perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation to an equivalent point mass which would have the same mass as well as the same moment of inertia of the object. The general expression for moment of inertia is given as I is equal to mk squared. But m means total mass. K squared. K is called the radius of gyration. As the radius of gyration is distance, its unit is m. Its dimension is L. So, a rotating rigid body with respect to any axis is considered to be made up of point masses m1, m2, m3 up to mn. This is point masses. At perpendicular distance r1, r2, r3 up to rn. Okay. The moment of inertia of that object can be written as sigma mi ri squared is equal to limit 1 to n. m1 r1 squared plus m2 r2 squared plus m3 r3 squared up to mn rn squared. So if we take all n number of individual masses to be equal. So m is equal to m1, m1 is equal to m2, m2 is equal to m3 is equal to mn up to mn. So I is equal to mr1 squared plus mr2 squared plus mr3 squared plus up to mrn squared. So m common m, taking out. So r1 squared plus r2 squared plus r3 squared plus up to rn squared. So nm, number of, n means number, k, m mass, k radius of gyration. So I is equal to m k squared. So I is equal to m k squared. K is equal to square root of r1 squared plus r2 squared plus r3 squared up to rn squared by n. In fact, the moment of inertia of any object could be expressed in the form I is equal to mk squared. Parallel axis theorem. Parallel axis theorem states that the moment of inertia of body about any axis is equal to the sum of its moment of inertia about a parallel axis through its center of mass, and the product of the mass of the body and the square of the perpendicular distance between the two axes. அதாவது moment of axis, அதாவது center axis வழியாக செல்லக்கூடிய ஒரு parallel இணை அச்சை பற்றிய அந்த திருப்புத்திறன் ரொட்டேட்டிங் ஃபோர்ஸ்னு சொல்லுவோம். அது மாஸையும் டிஸ்டன்ஸோட ஸ்கொயரையும் ப்ராடக்ட் பண்ணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் இதோட மீனிங், parallel axis theorem meanings. So I is equal to IC plus MD squared. The parallel axis theorem is IC plus MD squared. The next, perpendicular axis theorem. The theorem states that the moment of inertia of a plane laminar body about an axis perpendicular to its plane is equal to the sum of moments of inertia about two perpendicular axes lying in the plane of the body, such that all the three axes are mutually perpendicular and have a common point. That is, 3 points perpendicular and meeting in common point. X and y axis lie in the plane and z axis perpendicular to the plane of the laminar object. If the moments of inertia of the body about x and y axis are ix inertia x and inertia y respectively and iz is the common moment of inertia about z axis. So the perpendicular axis theorem would be expressed as iz is equal to ix plus iy. So the moment of inertia of the particle about z axis is mr squared. Here r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. So then iz is equal to sigma m into x squared plus y squared. So iz is equal to sigma m x squared plus sigma m y squared. So substituting in the equation, iz gives iz is equal to ix plus iy. Thus the perpendicular axis theorem is proved. Conservation of angular momentum. When no external torque acts on the body, the net angular momentum of a rotating rigid body remains constant. This is the law of conservation of angular momentum. அதாவது அவுட்டர் ஃபோர்ஸ் ஆக்ட் பண்ணாத வரைக்கும் ரொட்டேட் ஆகக்கூடிய சாலிட் பொருளோட மொத்த ஆங்குலர் மொமெண்டம் சேஞ்ச் ஆகாது. ஓகே, இப்போ ஆங்குலர் மொமெண்டம் இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு டிஎல் பை டிடின்னு சொல்லுவோம். அப்போ ஆங்குலர் மொமெண்டம் வந்து ஜீரோவாக இருக்கும் பொழுது எல் வந்து கான்ஸ்டன்ட் அப்படின்றது. ஓகே, ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள், த டான்ஸர் ஸ்பின்ஸ் ஸ்லோலி when the hands are stretched out and spins faster when the hands are brought close to the body. Stretching of hands away from body increases moment of inertia. Thus the angular velocity decreases, resulting in slower spin. When the hands are brought close to the body, the moment of inertia decreases and thus the angular velocity increases, resulting in faster spin. டான்ஸர் வந்து தன்னைத்தானே ரொட்டேட் பண்ணும் பொழுது தன் கையை வெளிப்புறமாக நீட்டினா ரொட்டேட் ஸ்பீடு வந்து டிக்ரீஸ் ஆகும். பிகாஸ் ஹேண்ட் வந்து வெளிப்புறமாக நீட்டும் பொழுது அந்த ரொட்டேஷனல் ஸ்பீடு வந்து டிக்ரீஸ் ஆகும். ஸோ மொமெண்ட் ஆஃப் இனர்சியா குறைகிறது. அதே ஹேண்டை வந்து உள்புறமாக மடக்கும் பொழுது மொமெண்ட் வந்து டிக்ரீஸ் ஆகும். ஸோ சுழலோட வேகம் வந்து என்ன ஆகும்னா இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகும். தட்ஸ் ஆல். A diver while in air curls the body close to decrease the moment of inertia, which in truth helps to increase the number of somersault in air. அதாவது நீச்சல் குளத்தில் உயரத்துலேருந்து குதிக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு வீரர் என்ன பண்ணால் தன்னோட உடல் உட்புறமாக சுருக்கி கொள்வதன் மூலயமா நிலைமை திருப்பதனை குறைச்சி சுழற்சி வேகத்தை வந்து அதிகரிக்க உதவும். இப்போ காட்டில் பறந்து வரும்பொழுது பல குட்டிக்காரன் அப்படியே போடுறோம், ஜம்ப் பண்ணுறோம், அப்படியே கேர்ள் பண்ணி என்ன பண்ணுறோம், உள்ளே வந்து நமக்கு வரும். அதான் சோமர் சால்ட்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறது. ஓகே, நெக்ஸ்ட் டாபிக் ஒர்க் டன் பை டார்க். அதாவது டேர்னிங் ஃபோர்ஸ் செய்யக்கூடிய வேலை. Let us consider a rigid body rotating about a fixed axis. A point P on the body rotating about an axis. This is a red color arrow mark, perpendicular to the plane of the page. A tangential force F is applied on the body. It produces a small displacement ds on the body. The work done dW by the force is dW is equal to FdS. Next topic, kinetic energy in rotation. Let us consider a rigid body rotating with angular velocity omega about an axis. Every particle of the body will have the same angular velocity omega and different tangential velocities v based on its position from the axis of rotation. Let us choose a particle of mass mi situated at distance ri from the axis of rotation. It has a tangential velocity vi given by the relation vi is equal to r omega. So the kinetic energy kei of the particle is kei is equal to half mi vi squared. So the common kinetic energy in translational motion la ke is equal to half mv squared. That's all. The next, power delivered by torque. That is comparison of translational and rotational quantities. Translational motion displacement வந்து x, rotational angular displacement theta. Time t, rotation motion time t. Okay, here velocity v is equal to dx by dt, angular velocity omega is equal to d theta by dt ன்னு சொல்லுவோம். Acceleration a is equal to dv by dt, angular acceleration alpha is equal to d omega by dt. Mass m, moment of inertia I, force F is equal to ma. Rotational motion torque is equal to I alpha. Translation motion linear momentum p is equal to mb. Here angular rotational motion impulse down delta t is equal to delta L. Work done W is equal to Fs. Here work done W is equal to torque theta. Kinetic energy K is equal to half mv squared. Here kinetic energy is equal to K is equal to half I omega squared. Power P is equal to Fv. Rotational motion power P is equal to dou omega. Combination of translation and rotation. We will now see how these translational and rotational motions are related in rolling. If the radius of the rolling object is capital R, in one full rotation, the center of mass is displaced by 2 pi r. One would agree that not only the center of mass but all the points on the disk are displaced by the same 2 pi r after one full rotation. Hence, we can consider the pure rolling in two different ways. First one, the combination of translational motion and rotational motion about the center of mass. Or second one, the momentary rotational motion about the point of contact. The next topic, sliding and slipping. Sliding, the point of contact has more translation than rotation. This happens when suddenly brake is applied in a moving vehicle or when the vehicle enters into a slippery road. Slipping is resultant velocity in the forward direction. Okay. Sliding is forward slipping. Next, slipping. The point of contact has more rotation than translation. This happens when we suddenly start the vehicle from the rest or when the vehicle is stuck in a mud. There is resultant velocity in the backward direction. Sliding is backward slipping. Next topic is rolling on inclined plane or surface. Let us assume a round object of mass m and radius r is rolling down an inclined plane without slipping. There are two forces acting on the object along the inclined plane. One is the component of gravitational force mg sin theta. The other component of gravitational force mg cos theta. The next static frictional force F is cancelled by the normal force N exerted by plane. As the motion is happening along the incline, we shall write the equation for motion from the free body diagram. Mg sin theta minus F is equal to ma. For rotational motion, Rf is equal to I alpha. Here the torque, then mg sin theta cannot cause torque as this passes through it. By using the relation A is equal to R alpha and moment of inertia I is equal to mk square. So we get Rf is equal to mk squared A by capital R. So F is equal to ma k squared by R square. Mg sin theta minus ma k squared by r squared is equal to ma. Mg sin theta is equal to ma plus ma. So substitute this value k squared by r squared. So a into 1 plus k squared by r squared is equal to g sin theta. The equation suggests that for a given incline, the object with at least value of radius of gyration means rotation, K will reach the bottom of the incline first. That's all for today's class, students. Today's homework. Students, repeatedly watch this video and learn the lesson properly. I have given you homework. Read and understand the questions and answers, and then write the answers 3 times in your classwork note. The marked questions are important 5-mark questions. After writing, send me the answers to my WhatsApp number. Thank you, students. God bless you all.